Are you ready to jump into the conversation today? Because we are. Um, Today we're going to talk about, you know, overthinking, our problems, not coming to decisions fast enough, getting stuck in analysis paralysis. And we did the same thing at the beginning of this call. And so we're just going to jump right into it because we got no more time to waste.
My name is
And
Diana Lizarazo, and my co-host is Matthew Goddard. Now, I'm so excited for today's topic because, like Matt said, we even still till now get analysis paralysis. I don't think it'll ever go away, but it's learning to reduce it as much as we can, don't you think?
I think that is exactly right. It's how how can we reduce it, make things move faster, and have more confidence as we move forward in the decisions we make?
100%. Yeah. And even Matt, like, what to you is analysis paralysis?
Uh, so for me, it's a usually I find I get stuck when I'm getting stuck at sort of a crossroads. I have two decisions or two options and a decision I have to make, and I get stuck I'm waiting for the perfect sign or perfect piece of information to let me know what decision to make. But at the end of the day, I just need to make the decision with the information I have available. And so for me, it's kind of this stuck at a crossroads uh,
Mm-hmm.
scenario.
Yeah, I agree. It's for me, I see the same thing. It's, I feel like for me, it's needing to know everything, which is impossible,
Yes.
and which is what happens to why things don't get done. Because you need to know everything, and you'll never feel like you know everything. And so you're just collecting all this data and not taking action, and then figuring out, which we're going to help you find solutions to, is how do you
Yeah.
stop yourself or know when is that point that you need to take
Yeah.
the action.
So for you, is it kind of like you're trying to know everything? So there's almost maybe not saying you're not a competent person, but a lack of
Yes, it's
confidence to take that
definitely
step. It's something
it's
new, something unknown. It
yeah,
feels unknown at least. And you're having difficulty making that step.
100%. That's exactly what it is for me. It's I feel that I increase my confidence with the more knowledge I have.
Mhm.
And but the thing is I still will get stuck. And I don't know if it has to do with my childhood, to be honest, because I was always had coaches all the time. So I
Mhm.
feel that coaches for me give me confidence. Oh, I feel like I'm already giving you guys the answer. I'm sorry. But you know, for so when I was young, it's I would have these coaches, and I would do
Mhm.
amazing because they just tell you what to do. They guide you through things, and so when I now getting into these kind of new ventures, where for example, getting into real estate, or even I mean, when even the first one starting, which I didn't actually have a coach, but starting a new business in creating a renovation business, or even now creating a business in software, um, a level of like you get nervous because you don't know how much is
Mhm.
enough information, and
Yeah.
how much. And for me, it was more, there was never enough information, to be honest. I was always like, give me more, give me more, give
Yeah.
me more.
But and you know what they say, hindsight's 2020, because at the end of the day, there obviously was enough information for like the decisions you've made in the past. Like, okay, maybe not every decision's turned out perfect, but like you ended up actually making a decision moving forward and you had enough information um
Yes.
to do that.
Yeah,
Um
for me it was I could talk on so many different topics of what I would do because I just spanned it out, like top, bottom, left, right, back, forward. Like I just got every single bit of information that almost even nothing to do, let's say, with what I was doing, just because I was like, what if I'm missing a piece of information that I need to know? So
yeah.
I would just like kill it when it came to getting information.
So what um for you, like what's maybe a certain like a specific certain scenario uh that we could talk about? Because like I said, for me, it's coming from this kind of having two options and you're stuck at a crossroads. You're saying for you, it's a little more of
Not
maybe
enough
not having
information. I
not
feel
enough
that I don't
information.
have.
Yeah. And
Mhm.
so what's like a recent example of that?
Yeah, for me, it was basically, I would say the biggest one where I really noticed and I think I really became aware of this analysis paralysis was when I got into real estate. And at that time, as in got into real estate as a business, because I was already actually purchasing properties, but I would say that was more as a landlord. But in this
Hmm.
scenario, my views was I need my real estate to be a business, and that means that my business needs to be making money within day one to maximum a year, but it should be making money within 6 months. 6 months to a year was my goal of like this is how a business runs, and I want my real
Yeah.
estate to be run as a business. So when I went into that, that was a new this was something new to me because I was like, I don't know how to run a business. And
Hmm.
so I would go into researching what are all the different strategies in real estate that are out there. So I did like all that research, not some of them that I had zero interest in doing, that had nothing to do with the areas of real estate that I was going into. But it was, I always had this question, what if? What if
Hmm.
I need this for this specific scenario? Because yes, I'm learning it here, but it could do something with this area of the work that I'm doing. So it was always just I need to gather more information and and just keep on collecting. And it was when I started noticing. You know what I actually started noticing was because there's only also so much information you can find, and then you're just going through everything over again. So imagine the amount of research I
Yeah.
where I couldn't find new information anymore.
You end up coming full circle.
So I came full circle, and then the question became, why am I still not taking action?
Hmm.
Right? I was like, why can't I make that first step? Why am I still scared that I don't know um, if I can still make that first step without making mistakes? And yeah, and my fear was not the little mistakes. Like I was like, what if I'm missing a huge
Big.
piece of information
Yeah.
that will make me fail so hard that I'll just screw myself over and I'll be at zero or even worse, -0.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? And then these are also the scenarios you put into your head too, which make it a little worse too, right?
And obviously you're able to come to a solution. You're able to take action.
Mhm.
Um, which is good. I guess we'll get into that in a little bit. Like
Yeah, I was gonna say,
what
what
are some
about
of
for you?
these?
Or for
Yeah.
what about for you? What's your story, your scenario where you saw yourself in analysis process? Because I feel that we have different views or have experienced it, I would say, in different ways.
Yeah. For me, it again, it kind of falls down to this sort of dueling options. Um, where I don't, it's not necessarily that I feel like I don't have enough information. It's almost like I have a really good case for like case A and case B. And then it's okay, what do I choose? And I get stuck there. And so, one of the ones that kind of springs to mind is a flip I was doing. One of the first few flips I ended up doing. And, we were, it was a big flip. So it was on the water. It had a lot of, repairs needed to be done, and we had a big scope of work that we wanted to do to the project. So essentially bring the property all down to studs, add a big addition to it, and make it this huge sort of waterfront, uh, high-end property. And that was the plan, and that was sort of the goal. As we got it, we did as much due diligence as we could up front, but as we got it, there were some things that we didn't know. And we were really kind of stretching our knowledge as we started started the project. And so over the beginning of the project, we were getting some information that was saying, "Oh, it's not quite panning out the way we thought it would. Oh, maybe we should like um, sell it now and not move forward with the project." And it ends up being one of those scenarios where at the end you kind of wish you'd made a choice 2 months earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And why'd you wait that extra month or 2 months or that extra week or whatever? Um, and that's why it really stands out. But you end up having this kind of you're building a case for keeping it moving forward, and then just selling it as it is. And at the end of the day, what ended up happening is because we had a lot of partners and a lot of people involved, it the project was, let's say, in rougher shape, and we couldn't do as much as we wanted to because of limitations of the property. So it cost more, and the value was less on the sale. Was is the short answer. So yeah, we ended up making the decision to sell it and not move forward with the project because it made more sense for it to be a passion project of somebody else, an individual, not necessarily a business project, you know? Um,
So I feel like in both
but
these cases,
yeah,
basically, and in every case, time is always the problem, right? It's like for some reason we just let time pass. And
yeah,
in other scenarios, even, maybe you have a business idea and it never comes to fruition. So it's either you just take really way too long, and then you could have done it sooner, or
exactly.
something just never gets accomplished and you never actually see any value because you just got
Well,
stuck
you
on
almost get into
others.
this. I like for me, it's uh, you know, you do option A or you do option B. We try to push and force it to happen, or we, do the smart thing, which is protect everyone's investment, make sure nobody loses money, and move forward. And everyone is made whole, which is good, but like the project doesn't get done. So, um, it, but not making that decision is a decision in of itself, right? Like
Yes,
what not taking action ends up biasing one of these scenarios. Um, and so, or a third scenario that's even worse, which is just like nothing happens.
yeah.
Um, and yeah, and for me, that's what this sort of analysis process ends up being. And you learn, you end up learning through it. You learn to try to make decisions faster, but it's not always easy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you have competing cases.
Mm-hmm. And also, it is something almost, I would say, a rite of passage where you're going to be your startup. I feel like it is going to happen that you're going to go through this needing so much information in whatever way it comes, like too many options or needing to gather just more data on what it is that you're doing. But I think it's also almost a rite of passage that happens because as time moves
Yeah.
on and you start bringing awarenesses to, because I feel like it's once something finishes, we kind of do
Hmm.
that reflection back and realize, like you said,
It could
like
have been more
why,
efficient.
yeah, like why did I do this? Why did I take this long? I could have done this many more things. I could have worked on many more other projects if I just did this in a different way.
Yeah.
So you start also. So I feel that again, you'll never learn to remove it fully. But I think these conversations that we're having is here to also help you just even start analyzing yourself and
Yeah.
seeing this, bringing like these awarenesses to you so that you can start questioning yourself and maybe even stopping yourself. Am I being unrealistic? Which I
Well,
think,
and I think it's important to, in some scenario, like for you, for real estate, this is the first time that you were getting into having it be a business and it was something new. And so like, yeah, there's reasonable justification for, um, going slow or not taking action or whatever.
Hmm.
Um, but I think it's important to kind of apply just past experience, general past experiences from one's life and look at them and be like, okay, I made decision A and took action on whatever, March. But reflect and think, okay, when did I actually really make decision A?
Hmm.
Like, I've been thinking about, starting this business. I've been analyzing the market. I've been doing all this stuff. Was it really more like January or February that like
That makes
I already made this decision kind of in my head, and then you're just kind of, I just need a little more validation, a little more
sense.
information,
Which is what bringing that confidence
which
up.
is, yeah, which is bring that confidence up. And I think it's important to kind of be uh introspective, so to say, and um and recognize actually I've known for a long time that this is what I want to do or need to do.
Hmm.
Um, you do have the confidence to do it, right?
Yes, yeah. So, what would you say is what's a tool, a solution that you would like to give to the audience that would help them be able to kind of break through it or even bring that an awareness or to just get started to push forward and take that action?
Well, I think one of the important things is to properly define what your goal or what the outcome you want is.
Hmm.
Um, because without a properly defined goal, then yeah, you're gonna kind of flounder. You're not gonna be 100% sure what information you need or what kind of action you need to take.
Yeah. And even when you're, I would say, breaking it down to more manageable goals, minor steps, or micro tasks, whatever you guys want to call it, is also one like that, breaking it down a little bit so it gets even more detailed on like which one gets me to that bigger goal. But I think
Mhm.
time, setting a time frame where you just like once you hit that time frame, like I'm gonna get this information in a couple of days or max, let's say a week, and I have to make a decision. I
Mhm.
think also that kind of helps you where you're just kind of like, well, I my time is up. I've gotten the information, and now I have
Yeah.
to just take an action forward.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, breaking it down, making it more digestible is a good idea. Having time on it so that you're kind of forced
Make a
to
decision.
take steps and then make decisions.
Yeah.
Um, I think it's important to, this is kind of similar to defining a goal is, um, depending on what, you know, business you're starting or industry is, uh, start with a minimum viable product or option or scenario. Um,
Hmm. And keep
because
on
some,
reducing it because
yeah,
now that you talk about that, in my scenario of creating a software, my minimum viable product was quite a big minimum viable product. Now that
yeah,
we've had to reduce for the purpose to help the team out, because in my scenarios that's happening, let's say right now, is that my teams are going into analysis paralysis.
yeah,
And so I think this is actually another solution that I want to give you guys if the possibility is there, because this actually happened to me. I didn't realize it, but in my first business, in the renovation business, and in the business that I am now, I am more the back end.
yeah,
And as a back end, and I would say this more in the renovation business where it was, I was the back end, I made sure the finances were in place and the business was running, but my partner was the one who actually did the renovations, had to go find the clients, which I think is the most scariest part, at least in my opinion.
hmm,
So in that scenario, he would go in analysis paralysis, but in for me, I didn't because it wasn't like I need the work to come in. I need the
yeah,
estimates to come in for me to start even calculating and running the business stuff. right? So in that scenario, if you have another person that can push you along and get
Yeah.
you out of that analysis paralysis, I think that becomes also very helpful because that's what would happen. I'd be like, okay, who did you talk to today? How did it go? What do you need done? What do you need?
Yeah.
Same thing with the team that's happening right now, right? The reason the minimum viable product has become even smaller is because I hear all these like scary, like this fear coming out of them,
Yeah.
right? They're
Yeah.
like, oh, this is a problem, that's a problem, this is a problem, this is a problem. So I just like, okay, I'm gonna pull this out, pull this out. Now, what's your next excuse? Okay, is that
Yeah.
next? Let me pull this out. Let me pull this out. So we've reduced it quite a bit, just so that they start gaining more confidence in themselves
Hmm.
because I'm basically trying to remove as much as the fear as I can. And or I answer certain questions that, okay, what is the problem? This is it. Let's just do this. And I just make the
Yeah.
decision for them. And then they're
Yeah.
like, okay, what she
Well, and I
said,
think
this is
it's,
it, and this is what it is, right? So sometimes you also need that in this case, more of the leader. In the very first business, it was more of I felt like I was more like the accountability partner. Like, how's it going? The motivational
yeah.
person. It's like, how's this going? Okay, this happened. Okay, what do you think we need to get done to keep on going forward? Okay, who else can we speak to? It was more
Yeah.
probing questions, and he would just be like, oh, we could do that, we could do this. Okay, go on, let's do this. How did that go? Oh, this happened. Okay, so how do we get this done? What do we do? So in
Yeah.
that case, I was more of the accountability kind of motivational person to just keep him moving forward, which in this case I am, but it's more uh yeah, it is kind of still the same thing, but I feel that, but in this case though, I do make a lot more of the decisions, where in the other one it was they had to make the decisions and I was more probing because they knew the business better. I was like, I'm just making sure we're financially
Yeah.
safe and we're financially good. But a lot of the question I had to ask questions because I'm like, you need to tell me, right? Cause I
Yeah.
what you need. In this case, it's for me, it's easier. It's like, okay, this is an issue. Okay, let me take this out, and this is your only option. And they're like, okay, well, that's the only option, so let's work with it, right? Like, this is what we got
Yeah.
to do, right? So that kind of
Yeah.
helps them because even in your case, like you're saying that there's like five different options, let's say. Now, what do you
Right.
like? I am just like pulling those out. There's no more options. This
Yeah.
is what it is. You got to
Well,
figure
and
it
I think that's one of the other things. Like,
out.
it's important to have, like, if you're really stuck and feel like you can't get yourself unstuck, um, you're saying you're pulling out options. That's an option. But like, if you can't figure it out as maybe a sole entrepreneur, or you're by yourself or whatever, then I think it's important to have a sounding board, or somebody
Talk it
to
through,
to
right?
talk it through, right? So whether that's a coach, or a mentor, or like just a buddy or a partner or
Even
something
I
like
would
this,
say, if it's going to be a buddy, make sure it's a buddy. I mean, you can try someone not in the space of as an entrepreneur because they don't need to be in
Yeah.
your space of work, but
Yeah.
they need to understand that entrepreneurial mindset a bit. I would say at least
Yeah.
that because that really helps to. I feel that really helps to make sure those questions are open-ended questions and are actually
Yeah.
solution-oriented questions and not questions that will make you shut down and be like, "Oh, this is a bad
Yeah.
business idea." Because I feel like
They're willing to
entrepreneurs can sometimes
work.
make that happen.
Yeah, and they're willing to work through, some of that
Like
analysis, or
actually a solution.
challenge some of those assumptions or whatever, helping you get to the solution. Um, is, I think, the most important thing, right? It's you that needs to come to the solution to make the decision.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and sometimes you just need input from somebody else other than your
Yourself.
own, yeah, your own voice in your head. So, um,
It's true. It's
yeah.
true. So I completely agree. Yeah, that was something that I kind of realized in these two scenarios. One, I wasn't the leader. I could say we were definitely partners in our own separate fields. So I was like, okay, well, I don't know enough, so I just gotta probe and ask questions. And from
Mhm.
there, I see what the options become, and then we together kind of make the decisions. Or generally, he would be making the decisions, and I was like, "Yeah, that sounds good." Like that seems
Yeah.
like a good idea. Move forward. And this
Yeah.
one, I'm more of Okay, what are our issues? These are our issues. Okay, what can we do? What can we reduce it? Okay, you know what? This is the option. Move. Let's move forward.
Yeah.
So it becomes very
And
more
then,
direct.
and it's kind of like that. As you're saying, you end up having to just move forward to a certain extent. There's just an element of you just kind of have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, now it's a lot easier said than done. Um, but to get there, you know, you do a risk assessment of of what your tolerance is. Like, okay, if I'm going to start this business, or if I'm going to make this change, or if I am going to move forward with whatever, releasing a product, then like what is worst case? What's like a reasonable bad case? What's
Mm-hmm.
probably going to happen, and what's best case? Like lay out some of these scenarios and figure out what your risk assessment. Like if you are wrong after all of this analysis and all this preparation and all this research, are you screwed? Like if you just pull the trigger today, are you actually going to be hurt? You know,
Mm-hmm.
and if not, then maybe you need to just pull the trigger and and accept that there will be changes and there will be uh adjustments that have to be made along the way, but you do have to take action.
Yes, yes. Yeah. And another thing that you made me think of was, um, oh, it just slipped my mind. It's a good one too. Something I just thought of. Oh, I forgot it. Just gone.
Actually, I would like to say, like, yes, you just do it, but I need to really like determine what your risk assessment is. Not just do it barreling in uh full steam, right? Without any preparation or analysis. Like we're talking about when you've done the work, when you've done the research, when you've done the analysis, but you just can't pull the trigger. What do you do?
Mhm, mhm. And
You
that's
find a buddy, you find a mentor, you know, you determine what your tolerance is for the worst case scenario. And when you're done that, you got to do it whether you're confident or not, right? Like you should be confident at that point, but there's always going to be a little bit of maybe a little bit of uncomfortableness,
mhm,
but you do have to step forward and do it.
mhm. Agree, agree. It's and just I guess finding that small step that is small enough, or I would say big enough that you can move forward, but
Yeah,
small enough, or like that you're not screwing yourself over. Finding
yeah,
that one, okay, like what can I just do to make that next step and just
yeah,
make a move?
yeah,
Because yeah, we will talk ourselves out of anything so
yeah.
easily.
Set goals, break it down into smaller steps and goals, determine what maybe a minimum viable product or option is, which is, maybe that minimum step that you can take to show that yes, you have committed, but you've done the risk assessment, you've done minimum viable so that you are comfortable and confident and you're not, you know, being reckless or dangerous.
Yeah. Oh, and another thing I would like to say that I felt like was a big learning experience for me, and which is what I wanted to say before was like that I was saying like I needed to know all the information about to say the full-fledged project. Like imagine like let's say starting this
Hmm.
renovation business. I mean even that, but a software business, right? Knowing from A to Z, I need to know everything. How it's gonna start, how it's gonna end, like everything. But you start realizing and you think you need to know everything because you're like, oh my God, a decision's gonna have to be made like tomorrow or today
Yeah,
in the moment, and you think that you don't have time to do the research. Oh my God, I ended up realizing that you have so much time between steps, even in the real estate side, like anything that you do, nothing is ever a rush. You have, like, as long as
yeah,
you have a good solid base of information, this extra information that you need to go and look into, actually you have the time to do the research. And so in the phases or in the steps that you're in, only do the research for that specific step.
Yeah.
And you don't need to go into every single area because you
Yeah.
have so much time to do the research in your phases. There's no like hard deadlines for things. Or if there is a deadline, for example, a house is closing, like a house closes what generally within like the fastest generally is fastest like let's say I don't know a week, but generally what's the average, like 2 weeks to like I feel like that's even fast, like a month.
Yeah.
And it's like in a
Yeah.
month I'm sure you can figure out how to close a house. You can
Yeah.
get all that research done, you know, it's like these
100%.
things that you
And
start realizing.
yeah. And there's not a lot that I would guarantee in life. Um, Maybe even this, is 99.99. I guarantee it. But for the sake of argument, I guarantee that you talk to any business owner, whether they run a multi-million dollar business or they just started doing freelance work for themselves. Um, and you ask them, did they feel like they were really ready and like they were 100% ready to go and knew everything they knew? And do they feel like being a entrepreneur, being a business person isn't actually, in fact, just like almost a commitment to lifelong learning of how to, you know, do things and overcome obstacles and problems and scenarios. And every single one of those people would say that it's a lifelong learning experience. And no, they weren't 100% ready.
Mm-hmm.
So it just is what it is. Like you
It's
you
very true.
you can't know everything, and you're always going to be learning. You're committing to learning new problem solving and new strategies and learning new information
Yeah.
for as long as you want to be in business. That's kind
Yeah,
of the
it's
commitment.
always learning. I think the only different becomes is at the beginning, the learning is a little bit longer, and
Yes.
as you become more experienced, because you have all this experience, like yes, you're always learning, but they're quicker because you've already built strategies around things,
Yeah.
or you already have experiences around things, so you can kind of already have a good estimate of what
Yeah.
the result will be compared to at the beginning. I feel like you're like, this can be what it is, you know,
Yeah.
where it's like maybe this can be is like 10 different options, but then down the route it's like one or two, like two options
Yeah.
that's just like
And
it's
they're
probably
learning.
this, and I just need
Yeah.
to verify, and that's it.
Exactly. Exactly. It just becomes a more granular learning as you go on, as you become more experienced, and if for, you know, smaller and rarer scenarios, but it's a lifelong learning and nobody's 100% ready.
Mhm,
And, but if you do it cautiously and you do it with other people and you do it with a plan,
mhm.
then you can actually break through and not be paralyzed by analysis, this
Analysis paralysis.
analyze.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
you can actually take action to get things done.
100%. Any final, any, I felt like that was your final words, but any other
Yeah,
final?
I mean that's I don't know. I don't know if I can do better than that. That sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah, yeah, it was. That was a good summary of what we're talking about. Let us know in the audience what your thoughts are. Tell us when you've gone through analysis paralysis. Let us know even if you have other tips that you could give out to the viewers in the comments, or even other scenarios. Like, has there been a scenario that maybe we didn't really touch on and you'd want to hear about? Just let us know in the comments. Share your views because we always love to help and share our experiences with you guys. Matt, thank you so much. It's always so much fun to chat with you.
Absolutely. It's been a blast.
We'll see everyone in the next episode. Bye, everyone.